right, sir, first of all, what is your name?
Don Morton,
Don, tell me, okay, how long have you lived out here?
since '84.
Okay, was it Don Morton?
Morton, that's correct.
M-O-R-T-O-N?
That's correct.
Okay. You've been out here since '84. Tell me what kind of problems they've had out here.
We haven't had much of a problem until about '93 when we had that big flood in '93 in Allison. I've got water in my house both times. Since then, I've had to start carrying flood insurance in an area it's not in a floodplain. Why? Because the ditches do not flow the water like they should. Whose fault is it? It's Harris County's fault. They're not taking care of the problem. They've been told and told and told, and they do nothing about it.
Okay, now you're saying the river is back north of us
The river's
here.
back that way.
Okay.
You go back that way about a mile, and it drops off steadily to the river. Why is all this water being directed this way?
Okay, where's this water being directed, do you know?
It's being directed down the road tracks. It runs alongside of road track. It goes to another ditch, then to another big ditch over close to where U90 comes through, somewhere in that area.
Oh, completely the opposite way.
Opposite way, yes.
We're looking here, ditches. I mean, there's ditches all the way up full of water here.
Yes.
And down this road, but back this way, there's nothing.
Yeah, you cross over the 90, and it's like nothing's going on.
No water
You
at
cross
all.
over here, and it's all being barricaded. Same thing that caused the big flood down here a few miles down during the Allison is all trapped by the railroad tracks. So instead of directing the water this way, in my opinion, which is the way it should go, it's all being directed this way. So next thing is, my property gets flooded.
What's the county commissioners been saying about it?
Well, my neighbors have done a lot of complaining about it. We've called. They have called back this time. I've been calling them about the flood problem on this, and they've got no return call.
So you say your neighbors then have complained about it?
Yes, sir.
And
Yes.
what are they saying? You said this time they called actually, or what? What happened?
Well, I don't know about them this time. I know me and my wife have both called this time, and they have returned our calls this time. Of course, we are getting coverage from the news media also, which could be leading to some of the reason why we're getting something done.
What did they tell you today when they called back?
Well, they were going to look into it, and definitely going to come out here and check on the logs in the ditches, which has been here for a while.
The what now?
Logs that's been laying in the ditch, and I don't want to get into why they're in there because I could be blaming that on a neighbor probably, but bottom line is the water's not flowing out here like it should, and why ain't the county taking care of it?
Okay. You've been out here since '84. This didn't start till '90-something.
About '93. I've never had a problem. About '93, it started having. I started carrying flood insurance. Matter of fact, on my property, which I shouldn't even have to do. And if the county would step up and fix this problem, we wouldn't have to be carrying flood insurance.
Well, what is this problem right here with the dirt?
Through the woods over here, then it flows on through back this direction. But if the ditches were doing their job, the water would not have to be flowing other directions than what it should be.
Yeah, but even in Allison, that ditch right there didn't have that much water in it.
Well, that's very possible. That new addition could be causing
Well, I mean,
some
look
of
at
that.
the dirty water.
Where's the new addition at?
Just right down before you
down
get
the
to that old addition that's on the left.
They could possibly flow it back this way instead of going the other way with it?
No,
Well,
I think they've changed the flow of water.
Okay.
I mean, have you been down on Gary?
I mean, that lady down here that used to live down there, she complained and complained.
Take these little L-shaped brackets loose, and maybe put a spacer underneath it. Yeah, we need to do something like that, try to fit them up just a little bit. And pop these baseboards loose. What's going to happen here? This is all starting to warp out. And hopefully we'll get the water was
How you doing, sir?
You know, it was about 1 inch deep down through here this morning. Oh yeah. And so it just is a good thing. And
this is part of
anyway,
it.
possibly
They run in here for free.
worried about. I want to turn cage floors in here.
Yeah.
All right, and I would get a couple of dehumidifiers and get them running all the time.
Okay.
Matter of fact,
One of my big, we hadn't really done heat trawl, did a little bit, but they
much water still on the outside seeping back in. You have to do the weep holes. Right. We had it,
They showed him.
and then we changed insurance companies and everything.
Yeah.
And we dropped all the other stuff, and we had bought our flood insurance with them. And so I didn't pay no attention that when we went with the new company that we didn't have flood insurance.
You don't see the animals lining up two by two out there again, I wouldn't get too worried.
Okay, sir. What is your name?
Robert Pitts,
P-I-T-T-S?
P-I-T-T-S.
Robert, what is the name of this church?
First Baptist Church of Sheldon.
Tell me what happened this morning.
Well, about 7:45, something like that, 8 o'clock, I got a call from a maintenance guy and saying that the church was flooded, and right after that, people began to call and say, Pastor, you better check the church. It looks like water's going in it. So I came on up here, and sure enough, we had about an inch of water in most places, inch and a half in some, and we only had 3 rooms in the entire educational building, sanctuary, and the gym. Didn't have water in it.
How long have you been with this church here?
Well, I've been here 20 years at the church. I'm only been pastor for 10.
Okay, you've been with the church for 20 years. How many times have you seen this in the past 20 years?
None.
This is the first time.
When Allison came through in 01, we had water on the exterior part of our parking lot, but we housed, they brought 1,182 people here that were flooded out, so we didn't flood then, And so it just kind of caught us by surprise.
Any ideas what's caused this change in the water flow or anything like that? I mean, I'm
We-
noticing down
we-
the side
we have.
street.
I've been out in this community for 30 years, and one of our deacons has lived here all of his life, and we were talking this morning. All the water from here now flows towards Highway 90 on both sides of the road. Okay, when it gets to Highway 90, the east side then runs into the west side. It goes on down then west about quarter to a half a mile and hits another bayou that runs down behind the subdivision back over there. And evidently stuff gets plugged up down there some way, and the water can't drain. All the water from the paper mill and from the pipe yards and everything else is all draining in on us. And instead of having the ditches dug out and it go down the hill to the river bottom, it comes back on us.
So basically, I noticed the water's flowing this way.
Right.
We got a river right down the road this way.
Right.
What was there a change? The county changed the flow for some reason, or was there a?
One of my deacons lived down there, and he said that, gosh, I'm trying to think back in the 90s when we had that real bad flood, and that all the water went that way. Mm-hmm. Well, there's very few people left in Magnolia Gardens. And since then, they stopped the water and sent it the other way. So it's kind of like, they're flooding us instead of an empty river bottom.
Right. What about a lot of people were saying there's a pipe yard here that's added to it back in here?
Well,
Changes there?
the water comes off the pipe yards. It's obviously going to run off, into the low places, which happens to be the ditch and us. Mm-hmm. And the paper mill is back to our north, and it also runs off over this way, and instead of draining back, they used to have ditches that drain back to the east, back down towards the river. Well, the paper mill is shut down, and they no longer dig their ditches, so therefore the ditches get full up back down on the on the paper mill's land, and it comes on us instead of going back the other way.
Okay. All right, I appreciate it. What about now as far as damage? What do you feel? Just mainly the carpeting and wood?
Pretty much, I'm sure we've got a lot of sheetrock damage because the water came up on in through the weep holes and through the doorways and stuff. And but at this point in time, I have no earthly idea.
Yeah, I noticed you were talking to him a minute ago about having to raise the pews up some to keep them out of the water.
Right, they're the one end of the pews are getting wet, and so we're gonna have to raise them up. And the water is subsiding a little bit right now. If we don't get any more heavy rain this afternoon, we might be all right. But if we get some more heavy rain, then we're just going to be under a bunch of water.
Like he was saying a minute ago, what was it with the animals?
Yeah, if the animals don't line up 2 by 2, we're not going to worry too much.
Okay. All righty, sir. Thank you.